My beloved child, listen carefully now, because this moment was not chosen by accident. On January 18th, heaven opened a door, and Archangel Michael was sent with a clear command: expose what has been hidden, reveal what has been masked as love, and awaken the one who has been sleeping under spiritual pressure. This is not a random message. This is a timed warning, a divine interruption. And if your heart is beating faster right now, it is because your spirit recognizes truth before your mind can fully understand it. I speak as a messenger, not to frighten you, but to free you. There has been a shadow operating close to you, not a stranger, not someone far away. It is the person you trusted, the person you defended, the person you believed stood with you. What you thought was loyalty was strategy. What you thought was care was observation. What you thought was love was access. And heaven says, enough. Archangel Michael steps forward now, sword drawn not against you, but for you. He says the darkness around your name hath been feeding on silence. It has grown stronger every time you doubted yourself, every time you ignored that uneasy feeling in your chest, every time you explained away disrespect, manipulation, or subtle opposition. This darkness did not begin yesterday. It hath been forming quietly, patiently, waiting for you to stay unaware. Hear this clearly. There is a spiritual curse attached to your name, but it was not placed there because you are weak. It was placed there because you are dangerous to the enemy. Curses are not wasted on ordinary people. They are assigned to carriers of light, to those whose future threatens systems, bloodlines, and hidden agendas. The attack on your name is proof of your calling, not evidence of your failure. You may have noticed strange patterns lately. Delays that make no sense. Opportunities collapsing at the last moment. Misunderstandings that paint you in the wrong light. A heaviness that comes and goes without reason. Even exhaustion after interacting with certain people. These are not coincidences. Archangel Michael says these are symptoms of interference. Someone hath been speaking against you, not always with words, but with intention. And intention in the spiritual realm is powerful. The person you thought loved you has been working against you in subtle ways. Not always consciously, but consistently. Smiles with hidden resistance. Support mixed with envy. Advice that leads you away from your purpose instead of toward it. Heaven has watched this long enough. January 18th marks the moment exposure begins. Not dramatic chaos, but undeniable clarity. Pieces will start connecting. Conversations will replay in your mind with new meaning. And suddenly, what confused you before will make perfect sense. Archangel Michael warns you not to confront prematurely. This is not a season for emotional reactions. This is a season for spiritual authority. The curse on your name survives on one thing only: your agreement. Not spoken agreement, but tolerated agreement. Every time you stay silent when your spirit is screaming. Every time you shrink to keep peace. Every time you choose comfort over truth. But the window is closing. You have 5 days. 5 days where heaven is unusually close. 5 days where prayers carry extra weight. 5 days where your words can rewrite what was spoken over you. This does not mean panic. It means focus. It means alignment. It means choosing yourself without guilt. The curse can only be broken by you because you are the legal owner of your name in the spiritual realm. No one else can do it on your behalf. Archangel Michael places his hand on your shoulder now and says, "Stand still, but stay alert." You will notice changes in behavior around you. Some people will distance themselves. Some will become defensive. Some will suddenly act overly kind. Do not analyze. Observe. Light exposes without effort. Your job is not to chase truth, but to remain in it. Do not share this revelation with everyone. Sacred instructions are not for casual ears. There are people who benefit from your confusion and fear your clarity. Protect this moment. Sit with it. Let it settle. The unease you feel is not danger. It is awakening. The tears that may come are not weakness. They are release. This message is not here to accuse, but to prepare. What is coming next will require discernment, courage, and calm strength. Archangel Michael assures you that you are not alone in this process. Heaven is actively involved. The exposure will unfold layer by layer so you are not overwhelmed. Trust the pace. Trust the signs. Trust what your spirit has been whispering for months. And remember this: a curse can delay, but it cannot destroy what God has sealed. Your name still carries authority. Your destiny is still intact. This is the beginning of reclamation, not loss. Stay with this message. Let it work within you. What comes next is crucial. My dear one, as this message continues, understand that what is being revealed now is not meant to make you suspicious of everyone, but aware of yourself. Archangel Michael speaks with precision, not panic. He says the greatest battlefield has not been around you, but within you. The curse attached to your name did not begin with a ritual or spoken words alone. It began when you slowly stopped trusting your own discernment. Every time your intuition warned you and you dismissed it, a small doorway opened. Not to destroy you, but to distract you from your authority. You were taught to be understanding, patient, forgiving. These are virtues, yes, but darkness often hides behind good intentions. The person working against you learned your patterns. They studied your empathy. They knew you would excuse behavior that others would confront. Archangel Michael reveals that the opposition did not need to fight you directly. They only needed you to doubt yourself long enough for interference to take root. And this is why heaven has stepped in now, before the damage went any further. There is something important you must hear clearly. The curse is not permanent. It has an expiration date, and that date is connected to your decision. Spiritual contracts collapse when awareness enters the room. Right now, awareness is flooding your spirit. That pressure you feel is not heaviness. It is truth pressing against old agreements. Archangel Michael says, you are not being attacked because you are losing. You are being resisted because you are rising. You may start to notice your thoughts becoming sharper, confusion lifting, dreams becoming more vivid, even sudden clarity about past situations you never fully understood. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. The closer you get to breaking what has been spoken over your name, the louder the resistance becomes. That is why some people around you may act uncomfortable with your growth. Your clarity threatens the role they played in your confusion. And now hear this carefully, because this is where many people fail. Do not seek validation during this phase. Not from friends, not from family, not from the person who had been working against you. Validation creates dependency, and dependency weakens authority. Archangel Michael instructs you to anchor yourself in truth, not opinions. The confirmation you are looking for will come through peace, not applause. This is also a moment of responsibility. Heaven has given you revelation, but revelation demands action. That action begins with how you speak. Words are legal documents in the spiritual realm. What you say about yourself matters more now than ever before. You must stop repeating narratives that keep you small. Stop joking about your struggles. Stop agreeing with limitations spoken over you in the past. Every word you speak in these days is either breaking the curse or feeding it. Archangel Michael stands guard as you realign your identity. He says your name carries weight because of what it is assigned to accomplish. That is why it was turreted. The enemy never wastes energy on empty vessels. And the person you trusted was used as a point of access because closeness creates influence. This is not about blame, it is about boundaries. Love without boundary becomes vulnerability without protection. As this message reaches you, let me speak directly to your role in this divine assignment. If this resonates, do not keep it silent. When you like this message, when you share it, when you comment, you are not supporting a channel. You are amplifying a warning that others desperately need. Subscribe and stay connected, because these words are not entertainment. They are instruction. Your engagement helps this reach the ones heaven is also trying to wake up before it is too late. Archangel Michael reminds you that isolation is not the answer, but discernment is. You are allowed to love from a distance. You are allowed to protect your energy without explaining yourself. Guilt has kept many people bound longer than curses ever could. Release it. You owe no one access to your spirit except God. The moment you accept this, you reclaim authority that was slowly drained over time. There will be moments in the coming days where fear tries to rise. Thoughts like, what if I am wrong? Or what if I am overthinking? These thoughts are not yours. They are echoes of the very interference being exposed. Truth does not bring fear, it brings clarity. And clarity may feel uncomfortable at first, but it always leads to freedom. Let discomfort do its work without running from it. Archangel Michael says something crucial now. Do not rush the process. Breaking a curse is not about force. It is about alignment. The more you align with truth, the weaker the curse becomes. Light does not fight darkness. It replaces it. And you are becoming brighter by the day. Even if you do not feel it yet, the shift has already begun. Hold on, because what is about to unfold next will explain exactly how to take your power back in a way that cannot be reversed. This is where many finally understand what has been hidden in plain sight all along. Chosen one, there is a sacred shift happening now, and it is important you understand what heaven is doing beneath the surface. Archangel Michael reveals that exposure is only the first phase. What follows exposure is separation. Not always physical, but spiritual. The reason you have felt emotionally distant lately, even when surrounded by people, is because your spirit has already begun pulling away from what can no longer follow you. This is not loneliness. This is alignment. The curse attached to your name did not survive because of power alone. It survived because of proximity. Darkness needs closeness to influence outcomes. That is why it often enters through relationships, through trust, through familiarity. Archangel Michael says the moment you became aware, the curse lost its strongest weapon. Awareness removes permission. And now, what once felt heavy is starting to feel obvious. You may begin to notice an internal resistance when certain names come to mind. A tightening in your chest. A sudden lack of energy when you think about explaining yourself. This is not bitterness. This is discernment maturing. You are no longer required to convince anyone of your truth. Truth stands on its own. The need to be understood fades when the need to be aligned becomes stronger. Heaven wants you to know that the person who worked against you did not fully understand the consequences of their actions. That does not excuse it, but it explains the chaos that now surrounds them. When someone touches what God has protected, confusion enters their own house. Archangel Michael says you may witness sudden instability around them. Do not rejoice. Do not intervene. Simply observe and remain grounded. Justice unfolds without your involvement. And now hear this carefully. Breaking the curse is not about confronting the source. It is about reclaiming your authority. Authority returns when you stop shrinking, when you stop apologizing for existing, when you stop making yourself smaller to keep others comfortable. The enemy fears your confidence more than your prayers, because confidence signals agreement with heaven. Your name is being restored in places you cannot see yet. Conversations are shifting. Opinions are changing. Doors that were quietly closed are beginning to loosen. This does not happen overnight, but it does happen inevitably when truth is released. Archangel Michael says the moment you stop defending yourself, heaven starts defending you publicly. There is also a purification taking place. Old habits, old thought patterns, old emotional attachments that kept you tied to cycles of delay. You may feel an urge to simplify your life. Evelyn, to organize, to withdraw from noise. Follow that urge. Order in the natural realm supports order in the spiritual realm. Every small act of alignment strengthens the breaking of the curse. You are not behind. You are right on time. What felt like delay was actually protection. Had you moved forward earlier, you would have carried interference into your next season. God held you back not to punish you, but to prepare you. Archangel Michael confirms this pause saved you from losses you never even knew were waiting ahead. As this truth settles in, let your heart remain soft but your boundaries firm. You can forgive without reconnecting. You can love without reopening doors. Forgiveness releases you. Boundaries protect you. Love are holy. Anyone who pressures you to remove boundaries in the name of love is revealing their misunderstanding of love. There is a reason this message found you now. The next 5 days are not ordinary days. They are days of decision. Days where your words, thoughts, and choices carry multiplied impact. Speak life over your name. Speak clarity over your future. Speak peace into your atmosphere. Archangel Michael stands ready to enforce what you declare in alignment with truth. If this message is stirring something deep within you, do not ignore that stirring. Respond to it. Heaven responds to response. When you acknowledge the message, you activate movement. When you agree with truth, you accelerate freedom. This is not superstition. This is spiritual law. Type "I break the cycle" in the comments if this message is confirming what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 5849 has just been released over your name, your future, and your destiny. I feel led to speak directly to those who sense the weight of this calling. When you sow into this work, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping light reach souls trapped in the same darkness you are escaping. This is seed placed into fertile ground, and heaven promises a harvest that reaches beyond you. I hear the Lord say, as you release, I release clarity, provision, and protection back to you. If your spirit feels the urgency, act on it now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, with a link placed in the description as a point of obedience. This is not a donation. It is a prophetic response to what God is doing right now. I bless every giver with open doors, restored peace, and multiplied favor. Obey the prompting and release the seed now. Beloved soul, as this message deepens, Archangel Michael draws your attention to something subtle but powerful that is unfolding within you. The greatest shift is not happening around you yet. It is happening inside you. This is the stage where heaven begins rewiring how you see yourself. For a long time, you measured your worth by how others treated you, by how much effort you gave, by how much you endured. But now, that scale is breaking. God is recalibrating your identity, and this recalibration is what permanently weakens the curse that tried to cling to your name. You are beginning to sense a quiet confidence rising, even if it does not yet feel loud or dramatic. It shows up as a refusal to over-explain, as a calmness when chaos tries to provoke you, as a new awareness of when to speak and when to remain silent. Archangel Michael says this is spiritual maturity activating. Immature strength reacts. Mature authority remains steady. And it is this steadiness that confuses the very darkness that once relied on your emotional responses. There is something else happening that you must not misinterpret. Some connections will fade without confrontation. No argument. No closure conversation. Just distance. This is not avoidance. This is divine pruning. Not everyone who walked with you is meant to walk into what comes next. Some people were assigned to your survival season, not your elevation season. And heaven is now rearranging access to you. You may feel moments of grief for what is ending, even when you know it is necessary. Let that grief pass through without guilt. Loss does not always mean something bad happened. Sometimes it means something finished its assignment. Archangel Michael reminds you that mourning what no longer serves you does not mean you are going backward. It means you are honoring the journey while still choosing growth. Your sensitivity will increase during this phase. You will feel atmospheres more strongly. You will sense when something is off without needing proof. Do not suppress this. This is discernment sharpening. For a long time, you were told you were too much, too sensitive, or overthinking. In truth, you were perceiving what others ignored. The problem was never your sensitivity. The problem was you doubting it. Now listen carefully. The curse tried to attach itself to patterns. Patterns of self-sacrifice without replenishment. Patterns of silence when your voice was needed. Patterns of staying longer than you were instructed to stay. Breaking the curse means breaking these patterns. Not all at once, but intentionally. Each time you choose differently, something loosens in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael says there is a reason your patience was tested repeatedly. You were being trained to endure without becoming bitter, to stand without becoming rigid, to love without losing yourself. These lessons were not meant to trap you. They were meant to prepare you for leadership in ways you did not yet understand. Where you are going, emotional intelligence will matter as much as spiritual authority. You may also notice a renewed desire for truth. Not surface-level inspiration, but real understanding. You are less interested in noise and more drawn to clarity. This is because your spirit is preparing to operate at a higher level. Distractions fall away naturally when purpose becomes clear, and clarity is one of the greatest threats to darkness. Do not rush to label everything that ends as betrayal. Some endings are simply obedience. When God removes something from your path, it is not always because it was evil, but because it was no longer aligned. Alignment changes access, and as your alignment shifts, your environment must follow. There will be moments where you feel tempted to return to what is familiar, especially when the new feels uncertain. Familiarity can feel safe, even when it is limiting. But Archangel Michael warns you gently here, do not trade freedom for familiarity. What you are stepping into requires courage, not comfort. The discomfort you feel now is temporary, but the freedom that follows is lasting. Heaven is also teaching you restraint. You do not need to announce your growth. You do not need to prove your healing. Let results speak. Let peace speak. Let consistency speak. Silence, when guided by wisdom, is not weakness. It is strength under control. And strength under control is authority. As this stage continues, expect moments of confirmation. A sentence you hear, a message that arrives at the right time, a realization that clicks suddenly. These are gentle affirmations from heaven that you are moving correctly. Archangel Michael assures you that you are protected during this transition. Even when it feels like you are walking alone, you are not uncovered. This is the quiet rebuilding phase, the part most people never see, but that determines everything that comes next. Stay present. Stay honest with yourself. Stay aligned. What is being formed now will not collapse under pressure later. And soon, very soon, you will understand why this process had to happen exactly this way. Precious one, as this unfolding continues, Archangel Michael draws you into a deeper layer of understanding. This is the phase where inner alignment begins to influence outer reality. You may not see dramatic changes yet, but subtle shifts are already rearranging outcomes on your behalf. The spiritual realm responds first, and the physical follows later. What you feel as stillness right now is not stagnation. It is recalibration. There is a reason things feel quieter. When God is about to move something significant, He often removes unnecessary noise. Distractions fade. Certain conversations stop happening. Even your desire to explain yourself diminishes. This is not withdrawal. It is focus. Archangel Michael says heaven is narrowing your vision so you do not miss what matters most. Wide vision can be overwhelming. Focused vision is powerful. You are also learning something new about strength. Strength is not forcing outcomes. It is trusting timing. In the past, you tried to make things work by effort alone. You pushed, adjusted, compromised, and carried weight that was never assigned to you. That pattern is breaking now. The curse fed on over-responsibility. It thrived when you believed everything depended on you. But the truth is, some battles were never yours to fight. There is relief coming from this realization. A sense of release when you finally stop trying to control what God is already handling. Archangel Michael reminds you that surrender is not giving up, it is handing over. And when you hand over what you cannot fix, heaven steps in with precision you could never achieve on your own. You may notice that your reactions are changing. Things that once triggered you no longer hold the same power. Words that would have wounded you now pass without piercing. This does not mean you are numb. It means you are healed enough not to internalize everything. Emotional regulation is a sign of spiritual growth. Darkness loses influence when it can no longer provoke you into old responses. There is also a refining of your desires happening now. What you want is becoming clearer, simpler, more honest. You are less interested in proving yourself and more interested in being aligned. Less drawn to recognition and more drawn to peace. This shift is critical. The curse could only survive as long as your desires were scattered. Unified desire creates unstoppable momentum. Archangel Michael reveals that part of your assignment is to break cycles not just for yourself, but for others connected to you. When you choose differently, you create a new path. When you refuse to tolerate what harmed you, you teach others what is possible. This is generational work, even if it does not look dramatic on the surface. Small, consistent changes reshape futures. There may be moments when old memories resurface unexpectedly, not to pull you back, but to show you how far you have come. You will see situations that once confused you with new clarity. You will recognize patterns you were blind to before. This is not to shame you. It is to strengthen your discernment. Wisdom often comes wrapped in hindsight. You are also being trained to listen more than you speak. Not because your voice lacks value, but because silence sharpens perception. Archangel Michael says the more you listen now, the more accurately you will speak later. Words spoken from clarity carry authority. Words spoken from emotion carry weight, but not direction. Heaven is teaching you the difference. Trust is being rebuilt as well, but differently than before. You are learning to trust God without outsourcing your discernment. You are learning to trust yourself without becoming guarded. This balance is rare and powerful. It allows you to remain open without being vulnerable to misuse. Open but not exposed. Compassionate but not careless. You may feel moments of impatience, wondering when the visible breakthrough will arrive, when things will finally look different. Archangel Michael gently reminds you that foundations are laid before buildings rise. What is forming now will support what comes next. If heaven rushed this process, the structure would not hold. Timing is not delay, it is protection. There is something else being restored now, joy. Not loud excitement, but quiet contentment. The kind that does not depend on circumstances. The kind that remains even when answers are still unfolding. This joy is a sign that your spirit is no longer under oppression. Lightness returns when heaviness lifts, even if challenges remain. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough you are sensing is real. It is not imagination or wishful thinking. The curse has already weakened significantly. What remains is residue, not authority. And residue cannot survive sustained alignment. Stay consistent. Stay aware. Stay grounded. Archangel Michael assures you that nothing was wasted. Not the waiting. Not the pain. Not the confusion. Everything hath been woven into wisdom. And that wisdom will soon guide you into decisions that change the trajectory of your life. What is ahead requires the version of you that is emerging now, and you are becoming exactly who you need to be. Beloved one, as this message carries you forward, Archangel Michael draws your attention to a moment of choice that is quietly approaching. This is the stage where understanding must turn into embodiment. Knowing the truth is powerful, but living from it is what seals freedom. Many people receive revelation, but only a few allow it to change how they move, how they decide, and how they protect their spirit. You are being invited into that smaller, stronger group. You may feel an increased awareness of your daily decisions. What you say yes to, what you tolerate, where you invest your time and energy. These are no longer neutral choices. Every decision now either strengthens alignment or reopens old doors. This is not pressure, it is clarity. Archangel Michael says heaven is trusting you with discernment because you are ready to handle it. The curse that once tried to cling to your name is losing its grip because you are no longer operating unconsciously. Unconscious patterns are easy to exploit. Conscious choices are not. You are beginning to pause before reacting, to listen before responding, to feel before agreeing. These pauses may seem small, but they are powerful. They interrupt cycles that once ran automatically. There is also a shift happening in how you view conflict. You are no longer drawn to prove your point or defend your character. Peace has become more valuable than being right. This does not mean you accept disrespect. It means you refuse to wrestle where wisdom calls you to walk away. Archangel Michael reminds you that not every battle is a test of strength. Some are tests of restraint. You may notice that certain people try harder to get a reaction from you now. This is not coincidence. When manipulation stops working subtly, it often becomes louder. But what once pulled you into emotional explanations will now meet calm boundaries. Silence where there was once justification. Distance where there was once overgiving. This shift is unsettling for those who benefited from your old patterns. Understand this clearly. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with discernment. You decide who enters and how close they come. God is not offended by your boundaries. He is the one teaching you to build them. Archangel Michael says your peace is part of your assignment. Protecting it is obedience, not selfishness. As you continue, you may feel moments of doubt creeping in. Thoughts like, am I changing too much? Or will people misunderstand me? These thoughts are echoes of the old version of you trying to coexist with the new. Growth always creates a temporary identity tension. Let it pass. You are not becoming colder. You are becoming clear. This is also a time where your spiritual sensitivity is heightened. Be mindful of what you consume. Conversations, content, environments. You do not need to isolate yourself, but you do need to be intentional. What you repeatedly expose yourself to influences your inner atmosphere. Archangel Michael urges you to choose what feeds clarity, not confusion. Now hear this invitation woven into the message. If these words are resonating, do not keep them to yourself. When you like this message, comment your confirmation and share it with someone who needs clarity. You participate in breaking cycles beyond your own life. Subscribe and stay connected, because these messages are unfolding step by step for a reason. This is not just a video, it is a process. And your engagement helps this reach those who are still trapped in silence. There is a quiet strengthening happening in your spirit. You are no longer easily shaken by opinions. You no longer feel the need to explain your every move. Confidence is settling in. Not as pride, but as grounded knowing. Knowing who you are. And knowing what you carry. And knowing what you will no longer accept. Darkness loses leverage when certainty replaces insecurity. Archangel Michael also reveals that patience is being tested one last time. Not because heaven is slow, but because endurance completes maturity. You are closer to visible breakthrough than you realize. The reason impatience tries to rise now is because resistance senses its time is short. Do not let urgency push you into premature decisions. Stillness, right now, is strategic. You may receive opportunities soon that look good on the surface but feel off internally. Trust that feeling. Not every open door is a God door. Alignment always brings peace, even when it stretches you. Anxiety disguised as excitement is not confirmation. Peace disguised as simplicity often is. Learn to tell the difference. As this part of the journey unfolds, stay present. Do not rush ahead mentally. Do not replay the past emotionally. Stay here. Stay aware. Stay anchored. This is where authority is consolidated. This is where freedom becomes stable. Hold on, because what is coming next will reveal why everything had to unfold in this exact order. What you are about to understand will connect pieces you did not even know were related. This is where the bigger picture begins to come into focus. Beloved child, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael draws back the veil on something you could not have understood earlier. There was a reason clarity did not come all at once. And you've seen everything too soon. The weight would have been overwhelming. Heaven releases truth in portions, not to hide it from you, but to protect you while you grow strong enough to carry it. What you are receiving now is not new information. It is deeper understanding. You are beginning to see how every delay, every redirection, every closed door was forming a pattern of protection. What once felt like rejection was actually insulation. God was preventing premature exposure. There were environments you wanted access to that would have cost you more than you realized. Archangel Michael confirms that had certain doors opened earlier, the curse would have followed you inside. Waiting saved you. There is a shift happening in how you interpret your past. Memories that once carried pain are now revealing wisdom. You can see where you ignored warnings, but instead of shame, you feel compassion for yourself. This is healing. Self-forgiveness breaks chains that self-blame keeps alive. Darkness feeds on condemnation. Light grows through understanding. You are no longer judging who you were. You are honoring how far you have come. You may notice a growing detachment from outcomes. Not apathy, but trust. You still care deeply, but you are no longer emotionally dependent on specific results. This is a powerful place to stand. Archangel Michael says detachment confuses resistance because it removes pressure points. When nothing external controls your peace, you become unmovable. There is also an increase in discernment around motives. You are beginning to sense intention beneath words, energy beneath actions. You no longer take things at face value, but you also do not assume the worst. This balance is rare. It allows you to remain wise without becoming cynical. Guard this balance. It is part of your spiritual authority. Heaven is also restoring your ability to dream without fear. For a long time, you held back your expectations because disappointment hurt too much. You learned to hope quietly, cautiously, almost apologetically. That restraint is lifting now. Archangel Michael says it is safe to envision again. Not recklessly but faithfully. Dreams aligned with God do not disappoint, they develop. You may feel moments where excitement rises, followed by doubt trying to pull it back down. This is normal at this stage. Old survival habits resist expansion. When you have lived in limitation, abundance can feel unfamiliar. Do not shrink your vision to match old comfort levels. Let your capacity expand gradually. Heaven is patient with your growth. There is something else you are learning now. Discernment does not always require distance. Sometimes it requires presence with boundaries. You are being trained to stay grounded even in challenging environments. To observe without assorting. To engage without entangling. This skill will serve you well in the season ahead, where influence increases. Archangel Michael reveals that your life is about to intersect with new responsibilities. Not burdens, but assignments. These responsibilities require emotional stability and spiritual clarity. That is why this inner work has been necessary. You are being prepared to handle more without losing yourself. Expansion without collapse requires foundation. And your foundation is being strengthened now. You may feel a call to step into leadership in subtle ways. Not necessarily public, but relational. People may begin seeking your perspective more often, trusting your calm, leaning on your insight. Do not shrink from this. Leadership does not always announce itself. Sometimes it emerges naturally when wisdom becomes evident. At the same time, heaven is teaching you humility. Authority rooted in humility remains pure. Pride attracts resistance, but humility attracts grace. You are learning to walk confidently without needing superiority, to know your worth without needing comparison. This posture keeps your spirit clean and your discernment sharp. There will be moments where old fears attempt to resurface, especially fears of being misunderstood or abandoned. These fears are echoes, not predictions. They belong to a version of you that survived by staying small. You no longer need those strategies. You are safe to be seen now. Even if everyone does not understand you, the right ones will recognize you. Archangel Michael assures you that the curse that once followed your name is now fractured. It no longer has coherence. What remains are fragments that dissolve as you continue choosing alignment. Consistency is your greatest weapon now. Not intensity, but steadiness. Darkness cannot adapt to sustained light. As you move forward, resist the urge to rush resolution. Some things are still aligning behind the scenes. Conversations you are not part of. Decisions you are not aware of. Heaven is coordinating details you do not need to manage. Your role is to remain faithful in the present, not anxious about the future. This stage is about integration. Taking everything you have learned and allowing it to become natural. Not forced, not performative. Just lived. When truth becomes embodied, it no longer needs defense. It simply is. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. Stay open. What is coming next will mark a visible turning point. The internal shifts you have experienced are about to reflect outwardly. And when they do, you will finally see why this journey unfolded exactly the way it did. Beloved one, this is the moment where heaven allows you to witness evidence. Not all at once, not loudly, but clearly. Archangel Michael says the shift that began internally is now crossing into the visible realm. You may notice changes in how people respond to you. Less resistance, more respect, or in some cases, sudden distance without explanation. Do not be alarmed by either. Both are signs that alignment is taking effect. When truth settles into your spirit, it creates an atmosphere around you. People feel it even if they cannot explain it. Those who are aligned with your future will feel drawn closer. Those who benefited from your old confusion will feel uncomfortable. This is not rejection. It is sorting. Heaven is rearranging your environment to match who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Archangel Michael reveals that protection has intensified around you. There are conversations happening about you that never reach you now. Words meant to harm you are being intercepted. Plans that once would have succeeded are dissolving before they fully form. This is not because you are fighting back, but because you are no longer in agreement with what opposed you. Agreement gave access. Awareness removed it. You may experience moments of unexpected peace even when circumstances are still unfolding. This peace is not denial. It is confirmation. Peace arrives when your spirit knows it is safe, even if your mind is still catching up. Do not question this peace. Receive it. It is one of the clearest signs that the curse over your name is breaking at the root. There is also a restoration of authority happening in how you speak. Your words carry more weight now, not because you are louder, but because you are clearer. When you say no, it is felt. When you say yes, it is intentional. Archangel Michael says heaven responds quickly to words spoken from alignment. Be mindful of what you declare, especially in these days. You may notice opportunities beginning to surface again. Invitations, ideas, openings that once felt blocked. Move slowly with them. Discernment is still required. Not every opportunity is meant to be acted on immediately. Some are confirmations that flow has returned. Others are tests to see if you will rush without peace. Let calm guide your choices. There is something important happening in your identity. You are no longer defining yourself by what you survived. You are beginning to define yourself by what you carry. Wisdom, discernment, authority, compassion without compromise. This shift changes how you move through the world. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding with intention. Archangel Michael also speaks of restoration of reputation. Misunderstandings that lingered are quietly resolving. People who doubted you are reconsidering. Not because you explained yourself, but because truth has a way of surfacing on its own. When heaven defends you, it does not need your assistance. Remain dignified. Let integrity do the speaking. As you continue, you may feel gratitude rising unexpectedly. Gratitude not just for what is coming, but for what did not happen. For doors that stay enclosed. For paths you were redirected from. This gratitude seals healing. It transforms pain into wisdom. And wisdom ensures you do not repeat cycles you have already outgrown. Now listen closely. This phase is not about perfection. You may still have moments of doubt, moments of fatigue, moments where old thoughts try to resurface. Do not panic. Progress is not erased by momentary struggle. What matters is direction, not flawlessness. You are moving forward, even on days it feels quiet. Archangel Michael says the curse that once followed your name has lost its voice. It may whisper occasionally, but it no longer commands. You are no longer bound to old narratives. You are writing new ones through consistent alignment. This is lasting freedom, not temporary relief. Type "I step into light" in the comments if you feel this shift settling into your spirit. Blessing code 9031 is now activated over your clarity, your protection, and your next decisions. And as this moment seals, I am led to speak to those who recognize the weight of this calling. What you are receiving is not just for you. It is meant to reach others who are still trapped in confusion and silence. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are placing oil in the lamp so the light does not go out. I hear the Lord say, those who sow into revelation will walk in accelerated understanding. The PayPal link is weighing in the description as a point of obedience. This is not charity. It is partnership with heaven's work. I release blessing over every giver, declaring protection, provision, and divine alignment over your house. Do not delay what your spirit is prompting you to do. Act now, and let heaven respond. Beloved soul, as this message moves forward, Archangel Michael invites you into a deeper awareness of timing. Not human timing, but divine orchestration. There are moments when heaven allows you to feel the shift before you fully see the result. This is one of those moments. The reason anticipation feels strong now is because alignment has already been established. What remains is manifestation, and manifestation always follows order. You are entering a phase where patience must be paired with trust. Not passive waiting, but grounded expectation. You are no longer waiting from a place of lack. You are waiting from a place of certainty. That difference changes everything. When waiting is rooted in fear, it drains you. When waiting is rooted in faith, it strengthens you. Archangel Michael says your posture has changed, and because your posture has changed, outcomes must follow. Here is also a lesson unfolding around restraint. You are learning that not everything needs to be reacted to, addressed, or corrected. Silence is becoming a strategy rather than a coping mechanism. You are discovering that some things resolve themselves when you do not interfere. This is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Darkness often relies on reaction. When reaction is removed, it loses momentum. You may notice that your emotional world feels more stable, even when external circumstances fluctuate. This stability is not numbness. It is grounding. You are no longer easily thrown off center. When something unexpected happens, you recover faster. When disappointment tries to settle, it does not stay as long. This resilience is evidence of healing taking root. Archangel Michael reveals that part of your authority now lies in your ability to discern when to move and when to remain still. Movement without instruction creates exhaustion. Stillness without trust creates anxiety. You are learning the balance between the two. This balance is what sustains long-term victory, not short bursts of effort. There is also a refining happening in your relationships. Not just who stays or goes, but how connection feels. Conversations feel lighter, Expectations feel clearer. You no longer feel responsible for managing other people's emotions. This release is significant. Emotional overresponsibility was one of the entry points the curse used to weaken you. That door is now closing. You may experience moments where joy feels unfamiliar, almost surprising. Laughing without guilt, resting without anxiety, enjoying something without immediately wondering what might go wrong. Allow these moments. Do not sabotage them by overthinking. Joy is not a distraction from growth. It is evidence of it. Archangel Michael says joy strengthens your spirit more than striving ever did. There is also an increase in spiritual awareness that feels calmer than before. Less dramatic, more steady. You are not seeking signs constantly because you trust direction. You are not chasing confirmation because you recognize peace. This maturity allows heaven to communicate with you more subtly. Whispered guidance replaces urgent warnings. Be aware that this calm does not mean nothing is happening. In fact, it often means the most important things are happening quietly. Roots grow in silence. Foundations are laid unseen. What is being established now will support future visibility. If heaven exposed everything at once, it would overwhelm the structure being built. You may sense an internal readiness emerging, a feeling of being prepared, even if you cannot yet articulate for what. This readiness is not accidental. It is the result of everything you have processed, released, and integrated. You are becoming available for what is next because you are no longer carrying what belonged to the past. Archangel Michael also reminds you not to underestimate the power of consistency in this phase. Small, line choices compound quickly. Choosing rest when you need it. Choosing honesty with yourself. Choosing to walk away when peace leaves. These choices may seem simple, but they reinforce freedom daily. Freedom is not maintained by one dramatic act. It is maintained by repeated alignment. You may feel moments of reflection where you realize how much has changed without you forcing it. This realization can bring both gratitude and humility. Gratitude for the progress. Humility for the understanding that you did not do this alone. Heaven walked with you through every layer. Even when you felt unseen, you were guided. There is also forgiveness deepening within you. Not just toward others, but toward yourself. You no longer punish yourself for past decisions. You no longer replay mistakes endlessly. This self-compassion is not weakness. It is strength. It allows you to move forward unburdened. Archangel Michael says self-forgiveness seals cycles permanently. As you continue forward, resist the temptation to rush closure. Some things will resolve without explanation. Some questions will remain unanswered. Closure does not always come through information. It often comes through peace. And peace is already growing within you. Let that be enough. You are standing at the edge of a visible turning point. The groundwork has been laid. The internal shifts have stabilized. The curse that once followed your name no longer has leverage. What remains is simply time aligning with truth. And time, when aligned with heaven, always works in your favor. Stay steady. Stay present. Stay aligned. The next unfolding will confirm what your spirit already senses. What once felt like a warning is becoming a testimony, and you are ready to carry it. Beloved one, this stage marks a subtle but powerful transition. Archangel Michael reveals that you are no longer standing in preparation alone. You are standing at the threshold of release. Release does not always mean immediate change in circumstances. Often, it means change in authority. And authority always precedes visible breakthrough. What is shifting now is who has the final say over your direction, your peace, and your future. You may feel a growing confidence in your decisions, even when they are simple. You no longer second-guess every step. You no longer replay conversations endlessly in your mind. This is not carelessness. It is clarity. Clarity removes the need for overthinking. Archangel Michael says the mind rests when the spirit is aligned. There is also a deepening sense of ownership over your life. You are no longer waiting for permission to choose differently. You are no longer hoping someone else will change so you can move forward. You are taking responsibility for your own alignment, and that responsibility is empowering, not heavy. This is the kind of maturity that breaks generational patterns quietly but permanently. You may notice that old temptations to return to familiar dynamics surface again briefly, not because you need them, but because cycles often test you one last time before fully closing. These moments are invitations to choose differently, not evidence of failure. Each time you respond with awareness instead of habit, the cycle weakens further. Archangel Michael says repetition without reaction dissolves resistance. Your discernment is also becoming faster. What once took weeks to realize now takes moments. You sense when something is misaligned before it drains you. You recognize when your peace is being subtly disturbed. This speed is not impulsiveness. It is wisdom refined by experience. Trust it. There is something important happening in how you view yourself. You are no longer defined by what others see or say. You are defined by what you know to be true. This inner definition is unshakable. When identity is rooted internally, external opinions lose control. Darkness cannot manipulate someone who knows who they are. Archangel Michael also highlights the role of rest in this phase. Rest is no longer avoidance. It is strategy. You are learning that productivity without peace is not success. True progress includes restoration. When you honor rest, you allow heaven to work on your behalf without interference. Some breakthroughs happen while you are sleeping, not striving. As this message continues, let me speak directly to your participation in this moment. If these words are aligning with what you are experiencing, engage with them. Like this message, share it, and comment your confirmation so this reaches others who are standing at the same threshold. Subscribe and remain connected, because what is unfolding is progressive and intentional. This is not a one-time message. It is a guided unfolding, and staying connected matters. Hold on, because what is being revealed next will connect everything you have sensed but could not yet explain. This is where understanding deepens into certainty, and certainty changes how you walk forward. You may feel an increased sense of responsibility, not as pressure, but as purpose. You are aware now that your choices influence more than just your own life. Your alignment affects your environment. Your peace influences others. This does not mean you carry others' burdens. It means your example speaks louder than instruction ever could. Archangel Michael reminds you to remain humble in this authority. Authority is safest when paired with humility. You are not above others. You are simply no longer beneath confusion. This posture keeps your spirit clean and your path clear. Pride attracts resistance, but humility invites grace to walk alongside you. There may be moments where progress feels slow again. Do not misinterpret this. Consolidation often feels quieter than acceleration. What is being stabilized now will not need to be revisited later. Heaven is ensuring longevity, not just momentum. Quick breakthroughs that lack foundation often collapse. Yours will not. You are also learning to release control over how your story is perceived. Some people will never understand your decisions. Some will misinterpret your silence. That is no longer your responsibility. Your responsibility is alignment, not explanation. Archangel Michael says, when you stop trying to manage perception, heaven manages outcomes. As you continue, stay mindful of your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself with the same clarity and respect you now offer others. Old self-criticism has no place in this season. Growth does not require harshness. You are allowed to evolve without punishment. This part of the journey is about embodiment. Becoming what you have learned. Living what you have discerned. Letting wisdom guide instinctively. When truth becomes natural, effort decreases. You will notice things flow more easily, not because life has no challenges, but because you are no longer fighting yourself. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay aligned. The final confirmations are approaching. What has been building internally is preparing to manifest outwardly in ways that will leave no doubt. And when it does, you will recognize this moment as the turning point where everything truly changed. Beloved one, this is the stage where understanding settles into certainty. Archangel Michael says you are no longer questioning whether the shift was real. You are beginning to live from it naturally. What once required effort now feels instinctive. You are not trying to be discerning. You are discerning. You are not forcing peace. You are carrying it. This is how you know the transformation has taken root. There is a quiet confidence surrounding you now that did not exist before. It is not loud or performative. It is steady. Others may notice it before you do. They may sense that something about you has changed, even if they cannot name it. This presence is not intimidation. It is authority without aggression. Authority that comes from alignment does not need to announce itself. Archangel Michael reveals that this is the phase where heaven begins entrusting you with greater influence. Influence does not always look like position or recognition. Sometimes it looks like being the calm one in chaos, the one who does not panic, the one who responds wisely instead of emotionally. Influence flows from stability, and stability is now one of your greatest strengths. You may notice that situations which once would have unsettled you now pass through without attaching. You feel them, but they do not linger. This is emotional sovereignty. You are no longer absorbing what does not belong to you. This alone breaks many hidden chains. Darkness relied on your empathy without boundaries. That access is gone. There is also a deepening trust forming between you and God, not based on outcomes but on relationship. You are no longer measuring faith by how quickly things change. You are measuring it by how deeply you remain anchored regardless of change. This kind of faith cannot be shaken by delay or misunderstanding. Archangel Michael says this is mature faith, and heaven responds to it consistently. You may experience moments of reflection where you realize how much effort you used to spend managing fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of losing connection. Fear of making the wrong move. That constant vigilance has eased. You are not careless now. You are free. Freedom does not remove responsibility. It removes bondage. There is also an invitation here to embrace simplicity. Complexity often comes from fear, not wisdom. You are learning to choose what is clear over what is impressive, what is peaceful over what is urgent, what is aligned over what is popular. These choices may not always be celebrated, but they will always be supported by heaven. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that the curse which once targeted your name no longer recognizes you. You are no longer operating on the same frequency. Curses lose power when identity shifts. You are not the same person who tolerated confusion, delay, or quiet sabotage. Your awareness changed the spiritual landscape around you. You may feel gratitude rising again, but this time it is deeper. It is not just gratitude for deliverance, but gratitude for transformation. You are thankful not only that the burden lifted, but that you grew stronger in the process. This gratitude seals wisdom. It ensures you do not romanticize the past or underestimate the future. There may be moments where others attempt to pull you back into old dynamics, old conversations, old roles, old expectations. You will recognize these attempts quickly, not with anger but with clarity, and clarity allows you to respond appropriately. Sometimes that response is distance. Sometimes it is a firm no. Sometimes it is silence. All are valid when guided by peace. You are also learning to release the need for immediate resolution. Some things are still unfolding, and that is acceptable. You trust the process now because you trust the guide. Archangel Michael says impatience no longer controls you. You can hold anticipation without anxiety. This emotional balance keeps your spirit strong. There is a subtle joy returning to you that is not dependent on achievement. Joy in routine. Joy in stillness. Joy in being present. This joy is evidence that your nervous system is healing. You are no longer living in constant alert. Your body is learning safety again. This healing affects every area of your life more than you realize. As you stand here, you are not at an ending. You are at a threshold. What comes next will build upon what hath been established. You are not starting over. You are starting forward. With clarity, with discernment, with authority that does not need validation. Archangel Michael assures you that heaven is pleased with your obedience through uncertainty. You stayed when it was hard. You listened when it was uncomfortable. You chose truth over familiarity. These choices matter. They are recorded. They are honored. Remain grounded in this posture. Do not rush the next step. Let it come naturally. When it arrives, you will recognize it not by urgency, but by peace. And when you move, you will move without fear, because fear no longer governs your decisions. The final confirmation is near. What you have sensed internally is about to be affirmed outwardly in a way that leaves no confusion. And when that happens, you will know beyond doubt that this journey was not random. It was necessary. It was precise. And it was guided every step of the way. My beloved child, this is the moment heaven has been guiding you toward all along. Archangel Michael stands with clarity now, not as a warrior preparing for battle, but as a guardian confirming victory. What once felt like a warning has completed its work. What began as exposure has ended in authority. You are no longer under threat. You are standing in resolution. Take a moment and recognize what has changed within you. You are not the same person who first heard this message. Fear no longer grips you the same way. Confusion no longer clouds your judgment. You do not feel the need to chase answers, because peace has answered you already. This is how freedom feels when it settles, not explosive, but steady and undeniable. Archangel Michael reveals that the final break did not happen through confrontation, prayer alone, or emotional release. It happened through consistency, through your repeated choice to stay aligned, through your refusal to return to old patterns, through your obedience when no one was watching. This is why the curse could not survive. Darkness cannot remain where agreement hath been fully withdrawn. Your name is clean. Your identity is restored. The spiritual interference that once followed you has no place to attach anymore. Even if remnants try to echo, they carry no authority. They are memories, not mandates. You have stepped into a frequency where only truth can remain. And truth always protects what it establishes. There is something important you must understand now. The ending of this cycle is also the beginning of stewardship. What you have gained must be guarded, not with fear, but with wisdom. You now know how easily access is given when boundaries are weak. You also know how powerful peace becomes when boundaries are honored. This knowledge is your shield moving forward. Archangel Michael says you will soon notice tangible confirmation. A decision that becomes clear. A door that opens smoothly. A conversation that resolves without struggle. These are not coincidences. They are signs that alignment has taken hold. When resistance leaves, flow returns. And flow always feels lighter than force. You may also notice that your compassion has changed. You still care deeply, but you no longer rescue at the cost of yourself. You no longer confuse empathy with obligation. This is not hardness, that is health. Healthy love does not require self-betrayal, and heaven supports love that includes wisdom. This is also the season where gratitude becomes your anchor. Not gratitude that denies pain, but gratitude that honors growth. You can look back without being pulled back. You can remember without reliving. This is mastery. When memory no longer controls emotion, healing is complete. Archangel Michael speaks peace over your future now. Not a future without challenges, but a future without confusion about who you are. You will face decisions, but you will not face them blindly. You will encounter people, but you will not lose yourself to them. You will walk forward aware, grounded, and protective. There is one final instruction. Do not minimize what you have walked through. This was not small. This was not imagined. You were targeted because of what you carry. And now that you are free, what you carry can flow without obstruction. Your life will speak even when you are silent. Let this truth settle deeply. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are positioned. Everything that happened refined you, not ruined you. And heaven wastes nothing. Type "I am free" and sealed in the comments if you receive this completion. Blessing code 11804 is now released over your name, your household, and every path connected to your destiny. And now, hear this final word as an extension of the same divine breath that carried this message. This work does not stop with you. There are countless souls still trapped where you once stood, confused, burdened, and silently attacked. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not giving money, you are releasing light. I hear the Lord say, those who fund the voice will share in the harvest. The PayPal link is placed in the description as a point of obedience, not convenience. As you give, I speak blessing over your hands, your provision, and your future doors. Do not hesitate. Do not delay. Partner with what heaven is doing now, and let your obedience become a legacy.